Welcome to the Art of Money podcast with Art McPherson.
Thanks for listening to the Art of Money podcast, artofmoneyradio.com for more information or to schedule that initial consultation. Appreciate you subscribing. Now, let's get to the show. You know, Art, Luke, for a long time, many retirees have subscribed to the 4% rule when deciding how much to take out each month to meet their spending needs. But there was a columnist in the Wall Street Journal that said, I use the $400 rule. You'll spend about $400 each month in retirement above what you think you'll spend. What do you think of the $400 rule as opposed to the 4% rule?
Well, I haven't ever heard the $400 rule, but I think it depends how large your nest egg is in retirement. It could be $400, it could be $40, it could be $4,000. But I mean, I like it. You know, where they're coming from is basically you're going to spend more money in retirement than you are currently. Because currently you're saving, right? You're putting into the 401k, maybe you're putting into a Roth IRA. You have all your expenses, your deductions, your health insurance, everything that comes out of your paycheck. But when you hit retirement, especially in the state of Florida, all you need to come out of that retirement account more often than not is going to be federal taxes. Now, if you do a lot of tax planning and get you tax free, you may not have anything coming out of those, and it could just be all yours. So, you know, the old rule was 4%. You know, this guy's talking $400 rule. But if it's me and I'm retired, I'm probably spending more than $400 a month just on eating. Because I'd be going out to lunch, maybe even breakfast. And, you know, and I don't really do that much right now.
Yeah, what Luke and I typically find, if you kind of group all of our clients together that are in retirement mode today, whether they're just starting retirement or they're going, you know, now in their mid 80s or even in their 90s, we have clients in their mid 90s now in retirement. Everybody tends to have their current budget today. So if you're working and you're used to making $5,000 a month take home, well, you're going to need that in retirement plus probably another 20% for expenses. So if you're used to $5,000 in your budget now, that way you can save to spend. You put money in your savings account, put money set aside for those once a year bills and things like that, and then have that extra money. What that extra 20% is for is typically travel. So usually that first 10 years of retirement is going to be your most active. That's when you're out there doing those great trips and you're going to go see all the, you know, parks and all the great places you can RV or by plane, wherever you want to do it, however you want to do that, and just be able to have some of that travel money.
And Luke, you've said it before that, you know, it doesn't matter if you subscribe to the 4% rule, the $400 rule. Everybody's budget is different. You've said that you sat down with some people and they think they're only going to have this much per month, but you say, you've done a great job. You have a lot more. Go spend your money.
Right. We have those clients, too, who have been saving their whole lives, who I'm trying to, you know, convince to retire. When they finally do retire, they don't spend it. And we'll go a couple years down that path, right? Because it's your money. It's your path. You know, we just create the plan for you. But in a couple years down the road, it can be eye-opening of, okay, if you don't spend this money, who is and what are they going to spend it on? So, yeah, so we have those clients where some spend too much, some don't spend enough. You know, it's all in between.
Yeah, our great savers are typically the ones who have a tough time spending it because they're worried, I guess, that they'll run out or they won't have enough for something.
321-425-8550. We have a team member standing by right now to get you on the counter to sit down with Art McPherson and Luke McCarty, begin customizing a plan, or if you need that second opinion, no cost, no obligation, always online, artofmoneyradio.com. I want to talk about how some people, maybe it's time to take a look at that will, maybe take a look at that trust, because the latest numbers showed that millions of Americans still haven't written a will. There's a poll that shows that nearly 50% of adults didn't have one back in 2021. So when you sit down and you start customizing a plan, Art McPherson, Luke McCarty, you know, is that part of the conversation? What's your will? What's your trust? What's your estate look like?
Yes, it is, because we have a financial planning program that our clients can be a part of where we can have a will and a trust done for them if they need it. So one of the big problems, if you look at kind of that stat, is that means if you die, there is no specific set for where your money goes. The problem with that, Mark, is if that happens, all your bank accounts, all of your investment accounts, your 401ks, your IRAs, all those type of vehicles, unless you have specified beneficiaries on all those, a lot of people are pretty good about their 401ks and some of their investment accounts, but the things like your checking accounts, a lot of people do not have beneficiary arrangements on those. You usually don't have that on your home and on things like your cars and property. those can be a big problem for the kids because all that stuff has to be probated. Well, when it has to be probated, the way the state of Florida works is it's 9 months that you have to give the creditors notification to be able to file claims against any asset in the estate. So you may have a home that you would like to sell that was mom and dad's, or somebody would like to move into it, but it has to be probated first. And it can be expensive, especially if all the bank accounts are frozen, all the checking accounts, things like that. Upon death of mom and dad, you can't access them to pay the bills for those things, and they have to come out of the kids' budget. So unless the kids can afford to do that, it can be a big problem. So having some of those things resolved ahead of time can make it a lot easier for your kids and for your grandkids.
Do you guys want some secret information?
Let's go.
Secret info for the state of Florida, right? Attorneys make more money if you do not have a will or a trust. That's what I was talking about, that probate process. It's about 3% of the value of the estate. So let's say there's a home and let's say it's $1 million home. Even if there's a mortgage on it, it's going to cost you, the kids or whomever is going to inherit it, $30,000 for the state to decide where it goes. So it's very, very important to avoid probate. Of course, you want your assets going to where you want them to go as, the easiest way possible. But I'd say the biggest, problem with Florida is probate, and there's easy ways to avoid it, and that's something we can help you do. So give us a call at 321-425-8550 or visit us online at artofmoneyradio.com and schedule that appointment, and we'll get you in touch with our attorney.
And that initial consultation, no cost, no obligation to you for our radio audience this weekend to sit down and begin these conversations about putting a plan together, including your estate, your trust, your will, what steps need to be made. 321-425-8550. That's the first step. Giving the team at the McPherson Financial Group a call, and let's begin that conversation. And you're also going to have a conversation about creating an income plan as well, because if you have an income plan as part of your retirement picture, well, financial advisor Angela Sloan says don't confuse that with what's going on in the stock market.
It's very important that you have your income plan in place. And there's things that you can do to get that income plan in place to where you're not depending on the market. The market is where you go for growth. It's not necessarily the greatest income plan in the world because you never know what it's going to give you. And let's face it, no matter what happens, you're going to have to eat and pay your bills.
Yeah. So when we talk about creating that income plan, is this where a good conversation about annuities can come up?
Well, annuities can be a great tool, especially for income, because an annuity can have guarantees. So one of the things that's nice is if you need $5,000 a month for retirement income, and if you can make sure that all of that income is guaranteed through Social Security and like fixed payments to you, it really doesn't matter what the market's doing because it's not going to affect your income. That is the big deal about stable type investments and about things that have the guarantees. You want to make sure that paycheck is always there. And then you let the stock market and the growth of the market over time kind of be your hedge against inflation. So like last year when the market was doing really bad, but we had 9% inflation. It didn't look like it was working in that period, but now we're starting to get some bounce back this year and inflation's coming down. So over time, when you look at the historical averages, housing does very well over, 20, 30 years, and so does the stock market. So having money in those areas are always going to be beneficial over the long term for kind of keeping pace with as everything gets more expensive, your investments and your money will grow.
I agree with Art, and I also agree with what she said from a comment perspective, right? You need to have some of your money guaranteed, whether you're just relying on Social Security, whether you have an annuity, whether you have a pension, right? Those play a key role into your income plan because in a bad market like last year, if all your money was in the stock market, it was probably hard for you to take money out because you're already losing money in the market, and then you want to take money out, so you're selling to create your income. This is where an annuity can come into play. It takes all the risk off the table and you get that check, you get that paycheck. Now, it's not going to be the whole boat. You can't have all of your money coming from one source, but it allows your growth money to grow and also have some volatility in the market. But this is where an annuity can come into play.
Art, we were having the conversation, Luke and I, last week about annuities, and there's some people out there that say that all annuities are bad, and that really feels like an oversimplification. So when you hear somebody saying, I don't touch them, I don't want to talk about them, I think they're all bad, how do you respond to that?
Well, if an annuity is always bad, why does every pension company in the world sell the pension to an annuity company?
Because they're not that bad?
Correct. Well, the insurance company, that's what they do. That is how they defer risk. They are good at that. They measure it. They've got actuaries that actually calculate. They can put a number to that risk component and actually what we call price it. So when you're buying an annuity or you're buying a life insurance policy, you're basically you're just averaging risk. So instead of taking the risk upon yourself, you're letting somebody else that has a lot bigger resources and dollars at their disposal to be able to share that risk with everybody else in America. So it's just a way to, rather than gamble on, okay, I'm just going to let the stock market go up and down every year. I'm going to take money out and I don't know if I'm going to run out or not, but I'm just going to roll the dice that the historical averages over 25 years is going to work for me. You don't have to do that. You can build in some guaranteed layers in there where you can, if you need that income level, whether it's 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, you can say, all right, Luke, I want 50% of that income guaranteed, or I want 30% of that income guaranteed, or I want 100% of that income guaranteed. And we can actually do that. So you can build in based on what your risk tolerance is, exactly the type of guarantees you want. And that's where annuities can be a big part of that story.
Thanks for listening. Want more from Art McPherson of McPherson Financial Group? Find us online at artofmoneyradio.com. We are an independent financial services firm helping individuals create retirement strategies using a variety of financial and insurance products to custom suit their needs and objectives. Securities offered through World Equity Group, Inc., member FINRA and SIPC, a registered investment advisor. Investment advisory services offered through ProStatus Group, LLC. McPherson Financial Group and ProStatus Group, LLC are separate entities and are not owned or controlled by World Equity Group, Inc. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Investment financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. Art McPherson is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Arthur McPherson. Florida Insurance License number A174. 725.
Today's show has been a work of art.